Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Is there life on other planets? Scientists may be one step closer to an answer.
There is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
Oh yeah, Occam's razor be damned. We are here to talk Tic Tacs, saucers, and spheres. And maybe a little bit of David Grusch today as well. Okay, if you like that at the end.
Why do you crush me out?
Congress knows, but they're gonna send legislation to the Pentagon.
Yeah.
All right. We have a good episode actually for you guys today. We're gonna have fun as usual. But Ronnie, let me start us off like this. I officially feel like a reporter. Now, you as my friend know that a lot of things go to my head sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. And so it's dangerous. Is that fair?
Yes. You're very impressionable.
Yes, I have done a lot of research. Literally I've watched like 4 different podcasts. I've heard reference to things that I've gone and I've looked up and checked checking sources. I feel like a fucking reporter, Ronnie. Pull me back from this ledge.
No, you're in the field, buddy.
I am. Yeah. I am. Because I have some really good new David Grusch stuff for you guys. Which has literally just fascinated me. I mean, I'm a disclaimer here. I want to believe, but also at this point, right? At this point with where we're at, I sometimes, this is full honesty, I'm not joking, feel like other people must feel like me. Like sometimes I feel like we're losing our minds a little, right? Because if you look at some of the things that are going on, and then you say, this is a balloon, this is a thing, it's a bird, but these Navy pilots are dumb, And then if you say, these are explainable things, but everybody in the Senate and Congress is dumb. They don't know, like, they're wasting their time thinking UFO. Bro, I sometimes feel like I'm losing my mind because we are living in a world.
It's like a losing battle.
No, I just feel like, what is going on? Let's be fair. Let's be fair and let's be realistic here on this alien podcast, right? Let's be very realistic here. If it's not aliens, which of course it could, what is this language that is being used about UAPs, UFOs, crash retrieval programs, Congress hearings, closed-door Congress hearings, Senate official coming forward and saying they're pushing for public hearings, Congress passing bills, Ronnie, which is something I'm going to get to today. Literally, the bill is only for the Congress to send to the Pentagon and say, you have 6 months to give us your non-human origin materials from crafts in your possession. What world are we living in? Before I get into this David Grusch stuff, I want to hear from Ronnie, not a silly answer, a serious answer about what else could this be? What is a good reason? I'm not going to make fun of you. What's a good reason why this is...
That's a first.
Yeah, really. It is a first. But I'm not. I want a good reason. Is this some secret language for money laundering? Is this some crazy... And Congress is jealous that they didn't get a piece of something that is a bullshit program? What is going on here? Because we're literally at this point not looking at UFO videos that are taken from some guy's phone. We're talking about official legislation being written into act. And we're living in a world where the news is reporting on UFOs and craft in possession of the United States government and other countries. Ronnie, what's your take on this? What else could this be? Before I get into all this, I just want to know, what do you think that this could be from a rational standpoint that you would normally say on sometimes when I show you this stuff and you're like, this is all silly. So what does it mean? What does it mean?
A crash retrieval program could be exactly what it's said as, right? Any kind of military vehicle that has crashed within our jurisdiction or any other country's jurisdiction, you know, that we're based in, we go and retrieve that crashed object.
Okay, right. Well, those have been around forever.
Right.
Now that's very fair. But if somebody said, "Oh, there's crash retriever secret," this is literally stating you have to look at the words. So now, even when he says, "Oh, yes, sometimes I've heard bodies," right? When asked that question in particular. Now, when I'm being fair to this, I look at that question, and I've, for instance, looked into that question in specific as being from one source that he heard from with firsthand experience. Only one about the bodies. There's about 12 of them.
Yeah.
And only one said the bodies. So in all fairness, I really think that there's something to this, but not maybe the bodies part.
That's very fair. It seems a little... not outlandish, that's not the right word.
Well,
it just seems like a little much to try to pad a story.
Yeah, maybe, but not I mean, like, again, I think that this, let me be clear here. I think, personally, that David Grusch is like, you know, first off, if you guys didn't know this about David Grusch, he's not somebody who's stumbled into finding out about this stuff and then come forward.
High
he's
clearance. We've talked about that.
But he's not somebody with high clearance even who stumbled into hearing about things and then got obsessed with it and came forward. He's actually a guy that Congress originally, while he's in his position, sent out under Congress to investigate any secret black budget programs being held from Congress.
Oh, so he was like a double agent.
Yeah, from Congress. Being withheld from Congress and the American public, but that goes. I mean, everything is withheld from us. But he was sent out with this task, and you know what he did? He investigated it. And he came back to them. So I was first under the impression when we talked about this weeks ago, hearing, you know, new things have come out since then. So that's what we're going to discuss on this episode today. But the weeks ago when we put out this episode and it was fresh, I had just heard this interview. Everybody had just heard, and we didn't have all the facts in front of us. And I thought that he has very high clearance working in the intelligence community of the United States government, and so a credible guy that could know some things, and that was interesting enough. I literally did, none of us really knew at that point so much that he was tasked by Congress originally to investigate these things.
That's pretty new to me.
And that's the reason that he investigated them, and that's the reason why he's specifically bringing them back to Congress. And
why he went with the fucking interview and everything, huh?
And why he did all the interview, because specifically
that's
what
probably
this
why
is,
Congress was so fucking interested when he came back.
Yeah, because they sent him out in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay,
they
that's
did.
Very fair.
They absolutely did. And the thing is this comes down to a battle between how you have we've always had this. And even if you take aliens out of this equation, just as far as the way the government runs, they compartmentalize different secret programs. So even if it's just us building our own secret these things, anything that it is, things are compartmentalized in the government. But the Pentagon and Congress are supposed to share information. They can classify information that, legally speaking, that neither are ever able to speak of, right? But they are both supposed to know. That's the way the government is supposed to run. And what this is literally a battle between Congress versus the Pentagon, with the Pentagon hiding information. I'm going to do you one better real quick, Ronnie. Do you know what ARROW is? ARROW, the agency we've talked of, right? So, but do you know?
Yeah, it's like a certain actor bill that was, or it was a.
No, that's to study UAPs, the program to study the UAPs. But do you know who they're under?
No.
ARROW and Sean Kirkpatrick?
No, who?
They're under the Pentagon. So, here's another interesting thing that a lot of people probably did not know. When you hear ARROW and Sean Kirkpatrick, who we talked about him on this podcast already. Yeah. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. All Domain Anomaly, what is it?
All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
Yes. So
Which Congress created in 2021.
Yes.
Yeah,
So they're actually though, they're under Pentagon supervision is what they're under. They're under Pentagon supervision, and so here's a little tidbit. When Arrow and Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick come out in these hearings, these intentionally public hearings, and they say, we as Arrow, and this is the wording. The wording as far as government is the most important thing. Right. The wording. So when you hear Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the head of Arrow, who is a Pentagon supervised program, say Arrow is not aware of any extraterrestrial biological entities or crafts or any credible evidence towards them. That is true, and that's why they can say it. It's a game they play.
Well,
because that's Arrow that doesn't know that. Now, Arrow, who is Pentagon supervised, does not have access to many things. Yeah. Do you know who did have access to these things? David Grusch. Because David Grusch was not a part of anything under the Pentagon. David Grusch had the highest clearance. David Grusch has been read into around, and this is a quote from an act, you can look this up. David Grusch has been, not only was an intelligence agency with high clearance, but has been read into around 2,000 classified documents and programs that don't relate at all to extraterrestrial. He had very high clearance, and so this is the reason why he was able to find things that Arrow, who doesn't ask questions, let me be clear on that, and Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who does not ask questions when said, you cannot be, this door is not open for you. You cannot ask what is going on behind this door. And he goes, okay. He doesn't even look thrilled to be in the position.
Did you know there was actual Pentagon employees, I think probably previous ones now, who had came out back in 2020 about some of this same stuff that David Grusch is talking about?
I love that. And yes, I did.
Yes,
I did.
Eric Davis.
Yes. Oh, you got the names. Go ahead, Ronnie. Throw them under the bus, buddy.
So Eric Davis, Pentagon contractor and adjunct physics professor at Baylor University, described briefing Defense Department officials on retrievals of off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. Then there was also Christopher Mellon, who was a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, also echoed rumors of crash materials that the government is attempting to reverse engineer.
And so not only did it, and here's what I heard. Go ahead and
fact check
this.
There was also one more.
Let me hear.
Yeah, so his colleague, Luis Elizondo.
Ooh! We like us some Luis on this show. Mr. Elizondo, who 1 minute works for these programs, the next doesn't.
Yeah.
Hey, the next doesn't.
Yeah, he headed the Pentagon's UAP investigation.
If you ask the Pentagon, he was never in charge of anything.
Yeah, but claimed the government possessed exotic material associated with UAP.
Okay, so you guys make up your own minds. Luis Elizondo, one of the main reasons why those 3 infamous videos were leaked, and is a big part of spearheading this whole thing long before even David Grusch came out. And so Luis Elizondo was literally, you speak to certain people in the Pentagon, certain people in Congress, they say, yep, he worked for these programs, here's his paper trail, yep, and then other people in the Pentagon only, they say, he never worked here. Who is he?
Fuck are you?
Who the fuck is that guy? If there's any MMA fans out there, okay? Who the fuck is that guy? Is what they say. So I mean that's another. So there you go. Now that is what I've heard, Ronnie. And here's the thing: I've heard that many not only came out and spoke to in general like anybody, but that many of these high-level officials over the past 2 years have come forward to Congress, bringing forward evidence of secret crash retrieval and back engineering UFO programs. And while they admit that they admire David Grusch for going public, what they want are closed door hearings with Congress, and they will talk and bring evidence forward as well that will be legal, and that protections are built into these transactions. And these are the reasons, right, as well. Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Those people you mentioned, because there was not just David Grusch, there are more people at the highest level of government, as you just said.
Yeah.
These are the reasons why the Inspector General found David Grusch's testimony to be credible and urgent at this point, because he has heard too much of this.
Yeah.
Because there is overwhelming evidence that he has been given. There is right now, there is a bipartisan push, both sides of the aisle, as for a public hearing in Congress, public, with David Grusch. We have Senators Marco Rubio, Senator Gillibrand, Congressman Burchett, Congresswoman or Congressman Gallagher in the House of Representatives that want a public hearing, Ronnie. Also,
I was just reading about Senator Rubio.
Yeah, also, right, Gillibrand, right, we have an amendment, a bill put forward by Senator Gillibrand, right, that is an amendment officially stating and requesting holders of UFO/UAP materials not made of this earth to hand them over to Congress within 6 months. And that has literally, as of only a couple of days ago, been passed through, and is now an official bill. Here's again what I'm asking of you people. Explain to me why is all of this going on? Why would Congress waste their time? Okay, they're wasting their time. Certain people are wasting their time. That's what certain people feed into this or wasting their. Why was the bill passed? You need to pass these bills, you understand? You need to have more overwhelming people to pass through these bills. Why was it passed? Why is Congress obsessed with this? Why is David Grusch's claims considered by the Inspector General, who is literally what that title means? Do you know what the Inspector General title means, Ronnie?
Explain it to me.
The Inspector General is basically policing all of these separate government entities to make sure that they are functioning in a legal manner and providing what they need to provide and acting in a legal functioning manner as they are supposed to run the United States government, because they are compartmentalized agencies. And the Inspector General is the one who has heard all these claims from all those people, and now David Grusch, and who is convinced that there is a secret crash retrieval program, and that is why he has stated, and that is why it is in Congress right now. Understand, people, somebody walking off the street, or even a high clearance government agent like David Grusch, even somebody like that, doesn't get to walk into the Congress and explain that he has secrets of this and that, and then have them have a hearing for it, or closed door hearings, or entertain him showing them the evidence of this. Understand that doesn't happen without the reason that is happening. The reason people are on board with this man is that the Inspector General said his claims are credible and urgent, to quote him.
Incredible and urgent.
And that is why we are having these hearings. That is why people are convinced of this in the United States government. And that is why we're having legislation being written specifically only about UAP materials. That bill can't be used for other things. The wording in it is so specific of a thing. It can't even be used to get other information because it's worded in such a way that it is for non-human materials in the possession of the Pentagon that need to be brought forward.
I want to see them.
I want to see them too, and everybody wants to see them.
Everybody wants to see them.
But I guess what my greater point is, here's something. Here's something. My greater point about all this, I want to see them too. But as much as I want to be able to see them, and I listen, you guys, I even talked to like my father today. He's a bit of a skeptic. He's not a hardcore skeptic, but he is somebody that is not. He's not swayed easily. Sometimes how I am, He's not swayed so easily by hearing things or wanting to believe things, and then therefore he does, And that's what he said. Well, when I see them, and until then, I'm gonna worry about paying the bills for this next. That was to quote my own father. Okay,
nice. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Yes, but listen, my whole point about all this stuff and telling you this is that there are things that are in place with the way that our government works now and also has always worked. The way, if you are, somebody out there listening and you don't really, as I never really did, before as well. We all have conspiracy theories. We all don't trust the government. Yeah. But what do you really know about the way that the government runs? Because the way that it runs, you have to get, if you care about this subject or finding out the truth, you do have to weed through these weird things, the wording that people use. That is the way government works. It's very specific.
It's always been that way.
It's always been that way.
Down to the Constitution.
And the Constitution. Everything is very specific. So, for instance, when we first did this episode, I want to say this. Ronnie, you said, so this guy does seem, you said this to me. You go, I'm not jumping on believing this, but this does seem interesting. Yeah. But I want to know why he would be willing to do an interview, be willing to bring it to Congress, but he wouldn't be willing to openly show the evidence. Now I'm going to tell you why. I told you why then, but it was an overarching point about it and secrecy and maintaining that. This is the crazy thing. Check this out. If the Pentagon truly has a program that they are hiding, that is a black budget program where money goes, and they are hiding this money, and they are hiding the findings of this program from the American public and from Congress, that is illegal. Highly illegal. Yes. Criminal. Yes. Here's the other thing. Here's the other part that makes this tricky. It doesn't they would take them in and people responsible for having this program for their own trials for that crime. This is the way that the judicial system works. For that crime. Now, if David Grusch comes out, right, as a hero, as you would think he would be, and says, here's the evidence, this is the name, it's called the Legacy Program. Here's all the evidence, here's all the testimony, I'm bringing other people with me to show, here's pictures I've seen of them, and go ahead and have people study them. If he came out and did that, and he is outing an illegal black budget program, which is illegal in itself, it's not the way you think it would be where, well, he's a hero. He outed this illegal thing, so that's good. Nope. He has his own trial. They might have their own. Yeah. He also has his own because he has leaked classified information.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is the way
that he's doing it through Congress and everything is much safer and
it's safer, but you know what makes it safer too is that he's telling it to he's showing information to people that therefore in a closed door hearing do not give the information as well. So therefore nothing technically illegal happens there, right? So what they're pushing for is a public hearing, and with David Grusch, and there are, as I just said, there are many senators, there are many Congress members, and in the House of Representatives, all over, and it's a bipartisan issue. You have Republicans and Democrats that are both interested in this, okay? But here's the thing. Will we get that public hearing? I don't know about that. Because the truth of the matter is that if it was a public hearing, that's when he starts breaking the law and has to fear for his life, honest to God, fear for his life, if not at bare minimum going to prison for the rest of his life.
Fair enough.
And so that is the reason. Yeah, and so not only is that the reason why David Grusch couldn't do this, but why would this go anywhere in Congress to where they're like, well, if they have this information, this is the craziest shit about the government. If David Grusch comes in there and he gives these senators and these congressmen this information in a closed door hearing and everything's legal and they can know it, they can't do anything with it. That's the crazy shit about this. Ronnie's laughing at it because that's the truth.
It's like, hey, okay, now we know.
And then now we're interested. And that's why they're interested. And now we want to write this legislation legally to try to get them to give it over that way and do these things. Because our system is set up like a game. It literally is. And it's all about the wording you use, what things you say. You think, and people think, that him talking about a crash retrieval program that's highly secretive is enough. It's really not, because in the wording of however they write out the laws of secrecy, you could say that, but not give the details of it, and then you're in the clear. So he's telling this stuff in closed door hearings. They want a public hearing. We all want a public hearing with David Grusch, but will we get that? I don't think so, because of the way that the government works. And the deal is, it's not even just the government is the most important thing, element of all this that needs to function the right way for this to work out, which it won't, it sounds like. But also, even journalism, everything down the line, it works in such a manner. Journalists think, they go, why was this on News Nation? But even though it did, millions of people watching this and responding to this, Congress being upset. But why was it broke on News Nation and not the New York Times, or not this network, or not CNN, or not that network? Do you know why? Because these journalists are not willing to sever their ties to the Pentagon, where if they run this story, no, here's the real deal. It's not all like a movie. No, they're not going to go and get killed, because still nobody is enough to believe it. It's not evidence, just like it's not now on News Nation. No matter who runs it.
Right,
if it was speculation, if it was CNN or the New York Times, it would be all the same speculation. Yeah. But the difference is, those news agencies that are very large rely on getting briefing hearings firsthand from the Pentagon when they have public hearings, and putting out those things first. This is the newest person that is a defector, or that we're after, that's doing these, and getting those kind of hearings. So they don't want to lose their ties, which they definitely would. They're not going to be murdered like a movie, because they're not scared of that. But if the New York Times and these other journalists, what those journalists are scared of is, they're scared of the Pentagon saying, you're not allowed in here. You're not allowed in here for these hearings. You can't get your scoops from us, the things that we want to tell you first. You won't get that from us anymore.
Yeah, it takes away a lot of their credibility.
It takes away your credibility as well, which is a separate issue, actually. And that's a whole nother issue. Exactly. And so what are congressmen scared for? Well, congressmen are scared for because everything is about who you know. So when you hear these congressmen, it might be bipartisan, but I will say this is what's going on. When you hear Marco Rubio, when you hear Senator Gillibrand, when you hear these people on board with this issue saying, we've heard about this for years, they're just telling you the truth about what they've heard, and they can't tell you the details, but they're pushing, because they know how important this is. They're pushing for the public hearing. But the thing is with them is that those are because those few people are willing to do that. Most congressmen and Senate men or women that hear about this issue are actually it's who you know. So where is your state from? Which state are you from? Are you from Virginia? Because you are literally backed by the military machine that pushes you through. Will I get reelected, dude? This isn't a thing. Like, you appeal to a certain audience of people, and sometimes when it's not just, oh, who will vote for me? What is actually more important than that, which we all know, is who does my money come from? Who backs me who's already in power? And if it is if it is military officials, if it is the Pentagon, if it is people that brought me into Congress, that brought me into the Senate, then I know where my bread is buttered. And I don't want to fuck that up.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, nobody wants to lose their money or fuck up their money. I mean, no doubt. Hey, got much else to say on that, buddy? You've been on a long-winded rant that I cannot keep up with.
Wow. You know, but that's the truth of that. That's the truth of the matter about why, like, regardless of what's going on here, if this is some sort of weird language to steal money or launder money in a certain program that does nothing, and Congress is mad because they've come up with one that they don't share the money with. Whatever this is about, dude, these are the workings of it, that whether it's alien craft, whether it's bullshit, but it is about something else, or these people wouldn't care.
It is about something.
It's about
There's
something.
something happening.
And what is that? What exactly is happening is my question. Now, I have a theory. Do you have anything to say on this podcast, Roddy?
Bro, you haven't given me a chance to talk.
Well, I tried. I've tried. You're like, yeah, like...
When I try ever starting a conversation, you're still going.
I know. Well, that was what I wanted to say, which I feel like was real important. I said a lot of important shit there. It is true. That's the way that the system works, and it's worked in such a way that is so mangled and so distracting that people
don't focus on it.
People don't. They look at it and they go, "I'm not even touching this."
Yeah.
You know, like,
especially nowadays,
how are we supposed to know what's going on?
Everything's dumbed down into small videos, you know, like 15-second clips, and everything's running at such a fast pace that when things are
our YouTube channel isn't taking off.
Yes.
Yes.
But the way things, like, somebody all of a sudden puts out this big old read, even if it's just through meme or anything, you'll look in the comments, everyone's like, I am not reading all that. No. People just will not buckle down and take the time to actually sit and read through the kind of important things.
Which I did.
Yes.
Which I truly did.
Yes.
And more, I chose what to focus on. Because you have to do that too.
Yeah, it's called peer review.
Yeah. And I did that.
Yes.
And I chose what to focus on. And what I chose to focus on is the way that these systems...
And you need to be on News Nation next.
That these systems work. You know? The way that they work is literally... easily distracted. So if you guys heard of this legacy program, right, which is the secret crash retrieval program, it's a legacy program, and back engineering of these craft, right? It is run by the Five Eyes. You know this, Ronnie, because I've told you about it. Five Eyes organization is basically the United States government, the UK government, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia.
Those aren't letters of I at all.
No, but there's 5 of them. And those are the 5 different eyeballs keeping eyes on UFOs, Bond.
10 eyes.
Okay. So, that is the Five Eyes organization, right? That is supposedly works together and shares information and works with each other about these craft. Now, here's the thing. If you had a craft... Because I've also heard something else here. And I've heard something that's like disturbing, unsettling to me, really. It can make you you so easily, I'm going to say it, and so easily you can see how this would easily work.
Okay.
Did you hear about, I mean, in general, you listened to me explain all the intricacies of all this shit with our own country, correct?
Sure.
Now, if they're sending this legislation to the Pentagon, you need to give us what you have in your possession. What if they send it to Canada? We don't have anything in our possession. Come look.
Well, why would we send it to Canada?
Because they're part of the organization that they're another country that we work with on this stuff.
Okay, but who's to say Canada even wants any part to do with what? What if Canada has no idea what the Pentagon's doing?
Oh, they're part of the Five Eyes. So they definitely know what's going on here. And if you sent that thing up to Canada, okay, because here's literally another little piece. Right now,
probably appeal to Canada.
Right now,
that would cause a war, actually.
What are you talking about?
Because if they were ever to find out that the Pentagon sent secret stuff in the U.S. to Canada to keep secret from the U.S., it would cause a war between the Canada and the U.S.
Yeah, but now here's the deal. Narrow that down. If we don't even know what we have in our own possession, and we have to send legislation out to get things, and we don't even know what the Pentagon has here in the United States, how the fuck are they gonna know when we secretively send something up to Canada? That's just another layer when we can't even uncover the first layer of this.
Yeah.
Okay? And so the deal is right now, as we speak, there are private aerospace companies, and I think I know which one it is. I think it's Bigelow Aerospace that is doing this. When you hear about private aerospace companies, I guarantee you it's Bigelow Aerospace, run by billionaire Robert Bigelow, privately, through his own money. And his things are his and not the government's. It is not funded by them. But when you hear that these agencies that are unnamed, Robert Bigelow Aerospace. But these agencies that have not been named, when you hear these private agencies work with the government and that they're the ones in possession of these craft, now we're going to get interesting when we find out that literally these same private aerospace companies, right now as we speak, are in talks because of the legislation being written and because of information being given, which would include where the thing is held and what private aerospace company holds it and exactly where. That's part of the information that David Grusch has, that he is in Congress with. Well, now there are literally whisperings of private aerospace companies bidding on secret technology that is of non-human origin. Because whoever has this, Bigelow Aerospace, right? Whoever it is, okay, Ronnie, they're trying to literally...
I wonder who it is.
They're literally trying to send it off and sell it to some other private company.
Are the prices big or low?
That's good. That's good. That must be on a whim because you didn't even know that fucking guy's name, so that's pretty good, Ronnie.
You're welcome.
That's very good.
Yeah.
They're big.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
This is big money we're talking.
Hey, big money, but sausage flying low, huh?
Yeah, but But they're trying to right now sell off technology which they've never done before, dude. They've never done that before because your technology is your own if you are not government funded. You are a private entity and with your own money and your own means of studying these things. They are literally trying to sell off expensive secret technology to the highest bidder right now. And that is because they are trying to get themselves out of this mess, seeing what is coming their way, that there might be literally behind closed doors this legislation bringing about, even if we don't hear about it, you will tell us what you have in your possession. So and just like the Canada thing, if they get rid of it, they can sit there and say, I don't see, we never had anything.
So are they selling the actual technology, or are they selling blueprints to the technology and keeping the originals to
Well, that's not what I don't know, because
that's
honestly,
another layer that you'd have to think of.
it's not to think of. This is facts. There are literally right now Bigelow Aerospace trying to sell off very expensive technologies right now, right, that are unnamed, right? They have never done this before. They don't sell off technologies because the entire goal, whether you're privately owned or government owned, anything, and you are an entrepreneur, period, really, right? You're trying to build your business, dude, and your own value. And then especially if you're an aerospace company and you have technology that is worth so much money that other people don't have at their disposal right now, why would you try to sell it?
Maybe he made some bad business decisions and his business is going under. And now he's having to liquidate his assets.
No.
And then you're going to see a massive dip in Bigelow Aerospace's stocks.
No.
Right before
Here's another thing that's interesting, right? Bigelow Aerospace, we can go deeper on this stuff. Bigelow Aerospace is a privately owned company, yet has taken funding because he started the company on his own money. He was a billionaire. So it is private in that sense. Now, when he says, "Oh, I want to study," this was like with Skinwalker Ranch stuff. Bigelow used to own that as well. He used to own Skinwalker Ranch. This was like decades ago. I want to say this was decades ago that he had Bigelow Aerospace and then literally started on his own money, but then immediately took funding from who, Ronnie? Just guess. The United States government. Okay?
Jeez.
Took money from the United States government.
Usually where people get money from.
In specific to study under and I'm putting up finger quotes, a privately owned organization to study extraterrestrial phenomenon, and got money from the government to do it.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Bro, if you can work the system enough to where you're getting trusted with billions of dollars and government secrets and shit like that, fucking kudos to you, man.
He's done an interview. You want to hear something funny?
Yeah, what?
You could look these up on your phone right now while we're doing this podcast, okay? If you want, because this is pretty great. He has done interviews, multiple, because he is known as like the guy that started an aerospace program. We're sure they build rockets to go literally only, and from his own words, because he's so interested in aliens. Okay? And he's done interviews.
Bigelow's interested in aliens? Yeah.
Only reason that he spent all this money to start this. The only reason. And he says that.
Bro, if I was a billionaire, that's the first thing I would do. I want to go to space.
That's literally what
I'm building a rocket.
That's literally what he is.
Yeah.
And when interviews have been done with him, several of them, and people always ask him, because they'll say, "Oh, so you really believe in UFOs or aliens?" He always quotes, "Oh, I don't need to believe, I know." And then when they say, "Are you in possession, or have you found anything on this stuff to prove that you're saying that?" That's always the follow-up. Follow-up question.
You just said you know.
He does a scumbag smile out of nowhere. A smile when he's not smiling, a smirk smile out of nowhere, and he goes, "No."
I know that smile too. No. Yeah. No.
And they go, "How do you know that it exists?" And he goes, "I know." And he's fine with that, dude. He is a billionaire.
That's something you do.
I know.
Oh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't know.
I know.
But I know.
He literally does that, which is pretty fucking phenomenal, if you ask me.
Is he from New York?
No, he might be, dude. I don't know about that. But you should look up. I'll send you later for all you listening to. Ronnie knows this is no bullshit. I will find and send him clips like a madman of these Bigelow things that I'm talking
3
about.
in the morning.
Will I not, Ronnie?
3 in the morning.
Will I not do that? You'll be seeing these things.
No, he's from Nevada.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Oh, jeez. Hey, Area 51 much?
He also bought
That's New
that
Mexico.
Skinwalker Ranch, which, to be honest with you, I do not buy into that ranch at all. So you've heard me going on this rant. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't buy into anything. That ranch and ghosts and alien UFO on a fucking
You
ranch.
don't believe in ghosts?
There's not a lot of, like, no, not really. Not really. Not really. I don't really believe in Bigfoot. I don't
Gage is going to be pissed.
I don't believe in ghosts. And I don't believe in everything that I hear when somebody says that they saw a UFO either. You know?
Yeah.
I'm more interested in, like, my whole point I keep trying to make on this podcast. My interest, and then Ronnie is going to have something special for you guys. After this, Ronnie has an Enceladus update. The planet with all of the different... It is an update because it's new.
This is not new.
It's new.
It's not. 2021.
It's brand new.
Jesus Christ.
You guys, it happened 4 days ago. All right, listen, my whole point, joking aside, that I wanted to say about, in general, what I always try to say on this podcast for real, and I'll continue to say it, is that I look around. I am not just fascinated with, aliens, and I want to believe in them. I am fascinated when I look around at all the goings on of this world, all of the people that are interested in this, that are not citizens anymore, that are high level, high rank officials that write bills into fruition. I look around me and I say, what is this all about? Why on earth, if this is a stupid subject to be made fun of, is there all of this around us that is going on right now? And everybody who is talking and working towards learning about this in the highest levels of government. Why on earth would that be if this is such a dumb, stupid subject?
Why is it such a dumb, stupid subject, but it's been referenced throughout all of history?
In all of history, thank you. And especially today, I feel like we are living in times where you just go 10 years back. We have all this technology, and all you get is, it used to be, just throw people under the bus. This guy took a video. This guy says that he saw something. This couple, these 20 people said they saw something clear as day. Throw them under the bus, ridicule them, make fun of them. That was the way it was dealt with. And not spoken about ever by government officials, period. And now we are living in a time where this is front page news, where these are government officials that are putting bills into act. It's unbelievable. I do feel like we're living in a pretty cool time as far as that goes, as that stuff goes.
I'll just wait another 10 years.
And
you
also,
imagine what it's going to be like?
Yeah, no, I know.
Dude,
I know. You see what I mean, for real,
I do,
about this. And also,
things are advancing so fast.
So fast.
Just from 2012 to now.
The way they changed in specific, like that ridiculing stuff has gone away for the most part, dude. Like, that is not, at the very least, it's not that it's completely going away, but that is not the way to mainstream deal with this stuff anymore. Now it's like, ooh, the Pentagon, you're suspicious. So then now they're like, how about this? We're not being suspicious. Look at Arrow. We'll have public hearings where this guy just goes, there is no evidence that Arrow knows of or has been told about of extraterrestrial life. Bigelow. Yeah. Psst, the Pentagon doesn't let them see all sorts of different shit. They won't even let them investigate certain programs. They get the door shut in their face, and then he comes out there and says, all I know is that we haven't seen anything so far.
Hey, I know.
Yeah. All right. Ronnie, do your fucking thing. Let's hear about Enceladus, which actually is absolutely fascinating because, again, with the stuff I've been talking about and going through Congress and alien stuff, we're looking for life on other planets. That's a whole nother thing. We spend a lot of money on that too. I think that fits the bill for this kind of overarching thing I'm talking about, of why people wouldn't be doing all of this if certain people didn't almost know that there was something worthwhile to find.
So Enceladus.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a cryovolcano?
No.
No. So it's pretty much what it means. Cryovolcanoes are on Enceladus. It's what creates these giant plumes of vapor.
I've heard
water
about
vapor.
that from a friend that they found that.
Yeah. So in those volcanoes, they form over the cracks in the ice of the planet. These plumes can extend hundreds of miles from the surface. And what is it? We caught a video, or not really a video, but more of a picture of the plumes of water with the James Webb Telescope.
The James Webb. That's what I heard. I actually forgot about that. That's what I've heard. Yes, Ronnie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to see all the pictures, because there's even new things from James Webb's telescope about how we've seen the oldest galaxies known to our universe.
Yes, it's by far the farthest seen thing.
Yes.
There's nothing close to as when they built that James Webb telescope, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Nothing close comes to that.
I don't think so. But yeah, anyways, like the plumes themselves are like 20 times the size of Enceladus itself. So it's just rocketing off that planet.
Yes.
But supposedly it does make up a huge majority of what Saturn's ring, I think Saturn, yeah.
Yeah, it's outside of Saturn. So
it forms the rings there.
Yeah.
Like the majority of them, anyways.
70% of them.
About 70%, yeah. Which is pretty damn cool.
And then the other 30%, it stays on the planet and in its atmosphere.
Yeah, but did you know within those plumes of water and everything is where they find the phosphates?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which is life-building materials.
It
is. That is like a staple of building life.
Yeah, pretty.
And
damn
it's
cool.
rocketing. It's rocketing it off to attach itself to 30 other moons and stars around Saturn. Correct?
It's pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty awesome.
It is.
And if you
really
didn't
like
see
this
the
planet.
last episode, Ronnie told us that this Enceladus planet, phosphorus is just one of 6, right? Correct? Yeah. Let's update on that. If they haven't seen the other phosphates, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If they haven't seen the other episode, there are 6 life-building materials that are needed as far as our standards go, and they have found, correct me if I'm wrong, every single one of them.
Thought it was only 5 until
now it's 6.
Just
all
fucking
6.
throwaway mission they kind of did into the ocean and found them.
With a craft.
Yeah. They broke through the crusts and they went into the actual ocean parts, which are usually, it's cold water, obviously. It's a frozen planet.
Yeah.
But underneath there's the hydrothermal vents and everything, and since the core is hot enough, it keeps the water liquid.
Yeah.
So it could just be fucking full-on ocean life there. That might be similar
to really, us. I mean, really,
it could be squids.
Of course, I want it
octopus. To be. It's an octopus. Oh, boy.
Octopuses.
Yeah.
I want it to be. But also, if, again, taking a step back, and I'm biased, I want it to be so bad that there are larger biological entities living in that fucking ocean that just change people's minds here about the way that we look at our universe and the whole galaxy, but taking a step back, I mean, Ronnie, just like take the seat here as somebody who enjoys this stuff, but you don't get caught up in it the way I do. But here's the thing: you were excited about this planet and the fact that they have all of these life-building materials. Because taking a step back from wanting it to be, there is now a very good chance there is. Correct?
A very good chance, yes.
We don't know, but there's literally a very good chance.
The best chance we've ever had of actually finding.
Because we look for these things and we find some of these 6, but not all, on many different planets, but not all of them until Enceladus. And that is what makes it. What makes it so important.
This is you can kind of see a picture of what the plume looks like. Which is kind of dope. Yeah. That's what the icy plume comes off the whole planet.
And do you think it rockets up?
It covers the entire
planet. It probably rockets up because you said they're underwater volcanoes, right? Correct?
But, they form in the cracks.
But also, they probably rocket up even more so because it's sheeted in ice, so it has to break through a smaller area. And that's what creates it.
Yeah, it's almost like a geyser, but on a supermassive level.
Yes, yes.
And more of a cold geyser rather than a hot geyser.
Well, I mean, I look at hot girls, not hot guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, I think I pulled that one out the hat because Ronnie's big or low, statement was really good before, but I think I got one.
Mine was better.
Maybe, but mine was another gay joke, so that counts too.
That's fair.
Sometimes we gotta, just laugh a little bit. You guys, okay?
Yeah, with all this crazy shit going on, what else can you do but laugh?
That's all I'm saying about this stuff.
Enceladus has life on it. This I know.
Yes! Yes!
Like Mr. Bigelow.
Yes.
Yes.
I know.
I know.
You guys look up those Bigelow interviews. They're spooky, is what they are. They're spooky.
Maybe the man just really
this guy
sucks
has,
at communication.
he's not a millionaire. He's a billionaire. So he has all the fucking money. But instead of just being like, what's that fucking other billionaire's name? What's the guy, Ronnie? The billionaire that got divorced. And he got half his money taken.
Jeff
but he's
Bezos?
still Jeff Bezos, and he's still like the richest guy ever, even though he had to give up half his money in his divorce. Unlike Jeff Bezos, who's a billionaire, he's still concerned with these such human things like, find a woman. And find value through myself, through the eyes of a woman or a man or whoever it is. Like, find value in myself through the eyes of another. Here's Robert Bigelow just being like, you know what?
Himself more than
you know what I use my money for? Uncovering the greatest secret ever found and the greatest achievement of all mankind. Yeah, so I like that. That's good.
Definitely look up Robert Bigelow. That sounds like those interviews are worth it.
Yeah.
Check up on Enceladus too. Look at some of the pictures from the James Webb Telescope. Those are pretty dope too.
Before we go, because we're gonna go here in a sec. So I have a theory. I have a theory about that I shared with you previously, and I really am going to hold on to this one. Okay. It is a theory that is built around everything that I've really ever heard about the existence of aliens, about using science that we know as to what is possible, even from our standards. People usually like to go, and I do this too, because I'm very open to it, going to the idea of that, well, they would have things that are beyond us that we don't understand, right?
Sure.
Technology. So here's the thing. I have a theory that doesn't need to go at all whatsoever outside the bounds of physics and everything that we understand about the universe and space travel. I have an idea as to what all of these crash retrieval programs, what they have in their possession are.
What are they?
And what my idea is that, again, we're going to go back to what I said before about how all of these different sources that David Grusch has heard from, that many other officials have, that Lou Elizondo, that all these other officials, Eric Davis was the other guy's name, correct? They have come forward and talked about, they mainly talk about how we have literally craft that were not of human origin, not made here whatsoever, not from here, and we have it in our possession. So only one source, Ronnie, only one source talks about the bodies and stuff. So if you throw that out, my theory is, and this is a theory using no sort of sci-fi tech at all, that they would have to be even more advanced than us, is that similar to how we sent Voyager 2 out many, 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 many years ago, and it is now not only out of the Milky Way galaxy, but leaving our entire solar system and still functioning. Okay? Which is a fact, and that's just facts, and we made it. I think that they have some sort of satellite/drone unmanned crafts that have come into our orbit and or crashed on planet Earth that were built and sent from somewhere
the
else
same
and
purpose
did
that we
for
did.
the same fucking purpose that we did to find other life, and then were never manned and never needed to even travel. Who knows if they did, but they are not needed for this theory to travel faster than the speed of light.
No, it
at
could have
all.
just been. I mean, the
Sent
further
out
out
before
into,
us.
yeah, further out into the universe.
Sent out before we did,
Right.
and
So
they
what they
still
have
can't
found,
travel with their own.
What they have
bodies.
found with the James Webb Telescope is the further out you keep going into into the universe, there is a space-time distortion, which time moves slower the further out into the universe you
Right.
get. So, yeah, those planets, they could have arisen and had their civilizations and sent that thing out hundreds of thousands of years ago. Who's to say that even if that is what those are, or what people have just sent out to us to try to find other life on other planets, who's to say that civilization is even still there?
No, they might not be. That's exactly what I mean. They may be, or they may not be.
Yeah,
but they are literally, the way that he talks about this. We have seen a David Grusch interview that actually,
so cool.
you guys won't even believe this. You won't even believe this. But Ronnie, of all people, was able to find the full David Grusch interview and pull this thing up and say, hey, have you seen the full one? I go, no, it's not easy to find at all. I don't know if it's on YouTube.
I found it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Ronnie found this bitch, and we watched it. And David Grusch goes in depth what they don't show you in all these clips about how he says that he doesn't know if these are possibly interdimensional craft of beings of whatever that is interdimensional as opposed to an actual other physical planet as we'd think of it far out in space. Right, Ronnie?
Right.
That's what he said. He also says that the first one of these things that he was aware of crashed in Milan in 1933 under the dictatorship of Benito Mussolini, who had this craft. And when we won and took over in World War II, we're aware that they had this. And that, he says, is where maybe the whole thing of the Nazi bell comes into play, because it was egg-shaped and
Around the same
unmanned.
kinds of time.
By the way, it says unmanned, that one specific one, and egg-shaped. Or, you guys, Tic-Tac, right? I'm serious, you know?
Yeah. What's the best thing to go floating through space?
And basically, he says a lot of this stuff where he, in specific, whether it's interdimensional or not, or from a basically, the way I took it, that fits my theory here is that or call it spacecraft if you will, to quote him again, right? Is that you don't need this to be the way you'd think of it. You don't need it to be having a little alien inside of it. You don't need it to be traveling faster than the speed of light. Or, again, another David Grusch quote, we don't have enough information about where it came from, though we know it's of non-human origin due to the materials that it was made of. So, this all fits the theory that this thing could have been traveling through many different things, possibly from different civilizations, and therefore would look different and be different. None of them, under this theory, would need to break any laws of physics that we know of. They could have just the capabilities. There might be wires. Thank you. Oh, that's really made me happy at the end of this. Because Ronnie's, where's the wires? If the things...
Yeah.
Are you telling me
They've been there all
Are you
along.
telling me that Bob Lazar said there's no wires in the craft connecting this stuff? That's actually
There
really good.
might
Here's
be
a theory
wires.
for your bitch ass that has wires and everything we use, and it doesn't need to defy gravity or travel faster than the speed of light, and it could have fucking come here. We're fucking out. I'm gonna beat this guy up because I'm so fired up. Stop!